So good evening, guys. I feel so excited. I feel like a young girl before the big event. Do you know the gentleman you're about to learn from is so important for me and Boris and for our entire team in this journey. We met 13 years ago. Guys, that was the time when I learned from my mentor that Brian Sachs is the biggest leader, the most influential leader ever. And I was in the business for only 3 months when Byron Nelson, Senior Vice President, suggested to learn from Brian Sachs and travel to California. I was in a business for 3 months and just came back from California because the international event was taken in California. I said, I live in New York, coming back to California for Brian Sachs. And he asked me, he said, Renata, do you know who Brian Sachs is? I said, no. He said, and you want to win in ACN? Come on. You need to go to California, guys. And I did. And I started ACN because financially it was not easy. And could you believe it? Within 3 months, I was in California twice. Being in the business for first months, I was for the international event. And in a few more months, I went and learned from this brilliant man. And now he's here. And have you ever heard that? Yes, there is brilliant minds in this world. We are so blessed to learn from one of these minds. He's here today. He's a top producing senior vice president. Absolutely phenomenal leader. Please welcome Brian Sachs. We are super excited here.
Hey, good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
All right. Hey, it's my pleasure to be here with all of you. And it was great seeing you. I guess I saw some of you at the big event there in Dallas. And I guess I'll start with a story. I got a couple stories for you. And Renata didn't go over this part, but the very first time that we met, I had a big event. I had this big leadership summit that was happening in Southern California. And guess what was happening right at that time in her life? You remember the biggest hurricane ever for New York City? Do you remember that? Remember Sandy? Everything was underwater. Everybody's cars, apartments, houses, everything was flooded. That was happening. And she not only was it inconvenient because she had just been in Southern California, but she was dealing with the aftermath of the hurricane. But yet she still listened to those that were counseling her upline, Byron Nelson and others. And she made the sacrifice and the commitment to go out there because we all know the saying, all excuses are equal. Yes, all excuses are equal. And when she came out, and obviously I got a chance to meet her, and I understood very quickly how wonderful and special of a person that she was and that she is, and I knew that she'd be destined for greatness within ACN and really in anything that she does. And what I've learned over the years in multi-level marketing is that anybody can choose to work with us or not. And we are very lucky and we're special and grateful for the people who do choose to work with us. And I think that everyone here, I think gratitude is the key. I believe that Renata has introduced all of you to not just an incredible opportunity and company in the United States and Canada, but also to work directly with her. And I always trained for many years also that those with whom you work in your upline is super important because in our industry in network marketing, there are a lot of people who will do the upfront work and they'll introduce people and then they'll disappear and you'll never see them again. And it's crazy. But that's how some people are. I've always trained and the leaders with whom I've surrounded myself, it's all the same. The work begins when people join our teams. And that's the key. Like, I don't care how successful or unsuccessful a launch is. Now, when we launch a service or an area, we've always had successful launches, but really everything starts after the launch. And so same thing if you're beginning a group, let's say you're doing a home presentation and you sign on 5, 10, 15, 20 people. The real work starts not after, I mean, it's not the presentation's not the work. Signing people up is not the work. It's what happens after that, day one. People sign up, and then what do you do? What's your commitment? How hard do you work? For every hour that you put in, we put an hour, and together we achieve these great things in life. And one of the things I heard too, I think it was funny. Somebody asked at the leadership on Friday night. They said, what do you when people ask you what you do, what do you say that you do? And this is great. So people have asked me for 25 years, what do you do? And it's very simple for me. Um, I help people achieve all of their big, dreams and goals in life. That's what it is. What I do. And it has nothing to do with energy or telecom or any of these services or multi-level marketing. The big picture is I focus on people, I invest in people, and I find out what their reasons why are, why they're doing this, and I help them achieve their dreams and goals in life. And that's what Renata does. That's what Boris does. That's what all great leaders do. It has nothing to do with the services. Now, are we excited that there's great services? Yeah, of course we're excited there's great services. But in essence, what we do is so much more profound and significant. And that's what this business is, in my opinion, uh, all about. And the most important thing for you, all of you, is being associated with Renata and Boris. And in your entire lives, I mean, maybe you're lucky enough to be part of something that special in the past, but most people weren't. I was never involved in anything like that, before I started my career in the industry. And will you have that opportunity in the future? I don't know, but I would not take this time for granted. I would cherish every moment that you've got with Renata and with Boris and your other leaders. I know there's some other wonderful leaders here. And know that you're really part of something special. Are you communicating with them? Every single day, are you asking them or telling them, here's what I want to do, here's why I want to do this, here's my goals for this year, the next year, the next 5 years, 10 years. What do I have to do today, Renata, in order to be on track? Tell me exactly what I have to do. And I would be in communication all the time. And guess what? You want to know how to get more time from Renata and from your upline? It's just follow through on this. One of the things I'd be asking is, well, what do I need to do to get your attention? What do I need to do to have more of your time? And they'll tell you exactly what you need to do. So there's no ambiguity. And if you're able to and willing to make the sacrifice, then you will have their focus, you'll have their attention. Guess what Renata does? She travels to places where her time is warranted. That's what great people in this business do. Some people they don't like traveling, they don't do it. They get a lot of people in, they spend all their time on Zoom. No, no, no. But we as leaders, and I know they do too, if we have to actually travel, we'll go and we'll travel and we'll be with you and we'll do the stuff we need to do. We'll be on Zooms late at night and crazy hours and all that because what do leaders do in ACN and in network marketing? Leaders put other people first. Leaders put other people's dreams and goals before their own. Leaders have a servant mentality. And that's what you want to be, in my opinion. It's important to do this, but also on the way to becoming a leader, what do? You get the attention of your current leaders and you get as much time as you possibly can from them. And that's what I would focus on. Because there is no better feeling than actually being a leader in this business, because when you spend your entire day, month, year helping other people and helping them achieve some of their big dreams and goals in life, it feels so good. It feels so good. So I guess your goal right now is to go from where you are to become a leader. And in summary, to do that, just communicate with Renata and Boris and your leaders. What do I have to do today, tomorrow, next week? It'll happen a lot faster if you communicate and you hit those goals. Let's talk about sacrifice. So, what does it take to win? So, we've all heard how many hours it takes in order to become successful in anything. True? What's the number? Everybody knows the number. 10,000 hours.
10,000.
So many times. So 10,000 hours. So let's take that number. You can either do that quickly or you can do that slowly. And is 10,000 hours, is that a lot of time? Let's think about that. So 10,000 hours. So if you went 40 hours a week for 50 weeks, how many hours is that? It's 2,000 hours. So let's say that, so what's 10,000 hours? 10,000 hours is 40 hours a week for a period of 5 years. And my question is, if you have work, if you have a family, relationship, kids, what number of hours are you actually putting into this? So 20 hours a week is 10 years. 40 hours a week is 5 years for 10,000 hours. 80 hours a week is 2.5 years. So we're not talking about, in the grand scheme of things, we're looking at the next 10, 20, 30, 40 years. It's not a ton. It's not a ton. And you have actually help. I didn't really have much help in the beginning because a lot of us were getting started. We didn't know what we were doing. So it was very inefficient for me. I had to make mistakes and learn from them, mistakes and learn from them again, 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 again. If you have people like Renata, then, they'll help you learn from your mistakes a lot faster. They'll help you avoid your mistakes. It's like having a great coach, whether it's a great basketball coach, whether it's a great track coach, whether it's a great piano teacher, violin teacher, whatever it is. If you have somebody who's great, they can actually reduce the number of hours that you actually need to take. So my question for you is, are you taking this for granted? And what are you willing to sacrifice short term? So I'm going to tell you about my sacrifice, and everybody's sacrifice is different. So I want you to hear about my sacrifice and learn from that. And then I'd like you to be a little bit introspective and figure out, okay, well, what am I willing to do? Because it doesn't matter whether you do this quickly or slowly. It's more efficient to do it quickly. But if you decide to do it slowly and spread this out over 10 years, it's great. We appreciate every single minute that you put into this. But I will tell you something. It's easier if you do it faster. Let's talk about that. Why is that? Why is that? So, we've all heard of the concept of momentum, right? Momentum. So what is momentum? So let's say that you're trying to you run out of gas. And this is what happened in the olden days. What happened when you ran out of gas? You ran out of gas, and then sometimes you had to push the car to the gas station. Those of you who are young, you have no idea what I'm talking about. But usually everybody ran out of gas somewhere. The gas gauges weren't accurate, and somewhere within 400 meters of a gas station, people would run out of gas or their cars would break. Hardly any cars ever even break today. But you'd always end up pushing the car to the gas station or you'd help other people do it. If people are doing it, you pull over and say, okay, let's help. Let's go. And it was great feeling helping people. But let's say that you have a car and it says standstill. You put it in neutral and you want to get it going. And if you're just pushing it like this, what happens? Nothing happens. You know, you can push hard. If it's one person, nothing happens. But what if you get behind it, you know, and you push all out? Maybe you rock it back and forth, but then all out, and you get one step, and then another step, and it gets going. And it's a lot easier to keep the car going once it's going, rather than getting that car started from a standstill. Raise your hand if this makes sense. So this is momentum. It can be applied to many different things in life. So let's say in ACN, let's say that you're starting a group, and let's say that you're putting in, let's say 5 people in a week. So you're doing enough work to get 5 people started in a week. So you're getting, you're getting 5, and then another 5, and then another 5, and another 5. And that's a decent amount of people. 20 people a month is pretty exciting, true? Raise your hand if you think that's pretty exciting. Once you're there, then you have momentum. People are excited. There's a lot of people there who are like, wow, all these people are coming on my team. Because there's usually a baseline, there's a minimum. It's not that exciting if one person a week is joining the team. It's just not. But if 5 people a week are joining someone's team, that's great. 5, 5, 5, 5. And then that is actually motivational psychologically to people. It's motivational. So how do you see these people that get up into the top 5 or top 10 at the RD position, or at the higher levels, the higher echelons in ACN? They have a situation where maybe they have one team they're working with, and then 5 people come in one week, and 5 and 5. And then all of a sudden, maybe 8 people come the next week, 10 people, 15 people, 20 people. And all of a sudden, you got 50 people that come in for the month, 80 people that come in for the month. And perhaps you and the leaders have the number 1 team in the United States. So how do you get to that? So I'm telling you, the goal is, I'll tell you, to get to maybe 4 to 6 people coming in per week on a given team. So let's work backwards from that. You can go through the motions if you want. You can spend, 10 to 15 hours per week, and, put in 1 person a week and help them get some customers. 1 person, help them get some customers. 1 person. And, it's great. It'll take 10 years to get your your 10,000 hours. And, at some point, you'll have expertise in the business. You'll do great. But if you can get some sort of momentum, and instead of 1, work to where 3 people are joining the team, 4 people, 5 people, 6 people a week, then all of this can be condensed. You can have success in a much shorter period of time, and it's all connected. So how do you do that? This is so simple, it's ridiculous. You put in more hours per week. That's all you got to do, right? Does that make sense? Instead of doing the average, which might be 10 to 15 hours a week, put in 20 hours in a week, put in 25, put in 30, put in 40 hours in a week. And my question for you is, how is that possible? Well, let's look at this. How many hours are there in a week? There's 168 hours in a week. Now, let's say that we sleep 8 hours a week. And who sleeps? No one sleeps 8 hours a night. No one sleeps 8 hours a night. But let's say you did. So that's 7 times 8 is 56. So that leaves 112 hours per week. Let's say we go to our job. Let's say we spend 40 hours a week on our job. That leaves 72 hours. 72 hours to fit in your ACN time. Is that a lot of time, or is that a little bit of time? That is a lot of time. 72 hours is huge. That's such an opportunity. Such an opportunity. Because remember, do you need, in this day and age, let's say you have a regular job, do you need huge chunks of time? No. Do a little bit here, a little bit there. Like if you have a commute to work, I'd be using every second during that commute. If you have a break For lunch, man, I would be texting. I'd be making some calls. You just fit in, here and there and here and there. And you know what? You know how I got ahead in all this? I really maximized nights and weekends. I really maximize nights and weekends. Um, and everywhere from Friday night to Sunday night. That is such an opportunity to do what the average person was not doing. If you put a little more time in over the weekend, now you have to sacrifice. Yeah, you got to sacrifice. You got to sacrifice the short term for the long term. I had all these routines that I had with my friends and that I've been having for a while, but were they really helping me get further in life? No. So I said, you know what? I'm going to sacrifice some short term um, in order to have long term. So what I did is I ended up spending, I doubled my time in working ACN. I worked every single little second that I could. Other people would go out on Saturday nights, like, and just do fun stuff. And I would work Saturday nights. I'd work on Sundays. It was great. Um, and because I did that, I learned momentum. I learned momentum. And I don't know, some of you have had teams that actually grew really fast. And every time you have a team that grows really fast, it's the hugest opportunity and you can learn from it. You may just be beginning in ACN or you could be a seasoned veteran. But when you have a team that is growing fast, you have momentum. And it could happen at any time. For example, you do a home presentation and all of a sudden 5 people sign up from that home presentation. Maybe it takes a day or two to get everything in the system. But what do? You have 5 brand new people. So what you do is like you're pushing the car and you got to this little downhill part. And you're like, whoa, this is great. Go, 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 go. And you know what you see? You see it's a downhill and then it's going to flat. So you're trying to get as much momentum as you possibly can on the slight downhill. So you're going every single second. You're working super, 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 super hard. You're staying up until 10, 11, midnight, working with the brand new people, helping the people that are excited. You're helping get their customers. You're scheduling their meetings. Maybe you're scheduling 2 meetings in a night. Maybe you're doing, if it's local, you're doing a whole bunch of face to face. You're driving. You're sitting down with people, helping them get their customers. You're doing everything you possibly can because you know that momentum is fleeting. If you just disappear for 2 to 3 days, the momentum can be gone in an instant. It's just like once you get onto the flat, if you stop pushing the car, what happens? The car stops. And when the car stops, what do you have to do? You have to do it all over again, which is fine. That's how this business is built, right? It's little groups in terms of momentum, and you learn more each time you have a group and there's a little bit of momentum, you learn how to deal with it and you learn to appreciate it when a group does have momentum. Now, the great thing about working with Renata and the leaders, they've been through this. They see momentum. They know actually what to do and how to do it. And you better believe it, if you ever have, once you have, 4, 5, 8 people join your team within a couple days, you had better let Renata and the leaders know because they will get involved with your group. And then all of you are together pushing the car. All of you are in there going really as fast as you possibly can. Do you know what I hate? I've always hated the 30-day rule for qualification. That messes everything up when it comes to momentum. Because you know how momentum is also tied to excitement. And when is people's excitement? When is it the greatest? When's it the highest?
Right when they join.
Boom! Right when they join, right? Right when they join. 24 hours later, it's at 50%. 24 hours later, it's at 25%. 24 hours later, it's at 12.5%, 6.25%, 3.125%, unless you help them get some success. And the best way to help them get success is to help sign someone up on their team. If you can do that, sign 1 or 2 or 3 people up on their team. And then, there's activities that go along with that, like help them get customers, help bonuses get paid out. Then, their excitement goes from down here, boom, right back up there. And if you have enough people who are at this level of excitement, then you have momentum. And then you have a bunch of people who are signing up. But you have to be willing to sacrifice the work. You've got to be able, this doesn't just happen on its own, right? This happens because you personally are the leader. You personally are willing to take responsibility. Write this down. I will take responsibility for my success. I will take responsibility for my team. I will take responsibility for my production. Now, again, there's no problem whatsoever if you want to chuck along and do your 10 to 15 hours a week, right? But realize that the 2-year plan of success, 2 to 3 years, is a lot easier than the 10-year plan to success because of momentum. And now on top of that, there's a couple of incredible services that have come out. What's better than car insurance and home insurance? I mean, come on. Right? You know, Renan and I talked about this before, but I mean, do I really need to talk about that? It's really a no-brainer. Everybody needs car insurance. Well, I just shopped with Iman for car insurance. I shopped with my daughter for car insurance. Everybody needs car insurance. Everybody needs home insurance. Home insurance is so important. Do you know what I studied at Princeton? I studied global warming back at Princeton. I read 5,000 to 8,000 studies. I know exactly what's going to happen. Even a couple of why do you think Hurricane Sandy happened? Right? Why do you think it hit so far north? Why do you think those wildfires here happen? Why do you think it's so prevalent? Why do you think that there's, even in Texas and Oklahoma, there's all sorts of stuff going on? So the extremes. Why do you think in Texas there are these huge freezing events? It's a little bit counterintuitive, but it's because of global warming. What does global warming do? It increases the extremes. It makes the jet stream go from this to this. And when you have a big dip in the jet stream, what happens? All the cold air comes down. Remember in Texas a couple years ago, everybody died because there was a huge freeze. Everything was frozen. Everything was ice. I watched the national news today every day, and there's tornadoes all year round. There didn't used to be tornadoes all year round, but because of global warming, they call it climate change, but it's global warming. Everything's warming up. Because of that, then the extremes increase, and it makes all of these disasters double, triple, quadruple. Therefore, what do people need? They need insurance now more than ever. I mean, come on, right? So, and I haven't actually, studied all the plans, but I would assume that there's a great range of plans for everybody, and what an incredible opportunity for everybody to get in there and to get involved. And just like any other service in network marketing, all those other companies out there, they advertise and advertise and advertise, spend billions of dollars of advertising. And we don't do, obviously, to acquire customers, we don't do any advertising. So we hand the customers over on a silver platter, and those customers typically stick around for a much longer period of time. So I know that all of you, the first thing you're going to do is you are going to try the automobile insurance. You're going to try the home insurance. There's even, I don't know if it's there, but there's renters insurance, right? I mean, half the people in the United States rent, and you got to have renters insurance. And when you move into a lot of these places, they require renters insurance. And if you don't have your own, they make you pay for theirs, which usually stinks. So all of this is on the table. And once again, I apologize, I do not know all of the details. But what an opportunity. And then obviously banking, I mean, another huge opportunity for those services. So can't get better than that. But then again, and of course there's electricity and there's gas in certain areas, which is great, but I want to impress upon you that that's not the most important thing. The most important thing is the team that you are working with. The most important thing is Renata and Boris and the culture and what you guys are doing together. Because anything that your leadership group decided to do, you would have success in anything. So just do not take that for granted. Do not take that for granted. So that's my message um, for this evening. And once again, it's an honor to be here on this call. I think that Renata is one of the warmest, most wonderful people that I've ever met in and out of business. I mean, you know how she is. I mean, her energy is so positive. Just being around her, I mean, forget business. Just being around her as a person is incredible, right? Here one of the definitions of a leader is this: a leader makes other people feel better when they are around this person than when this person's not around. So a leader comes into the room, everybody's energy increases, like, oh, it's great. And they all want to be around this person because of their energy and how wonderful and how great their heart is. And that's Renata. I mean, literally from the first time that I met her, that is Renata. How many times did she say, I love you, I love you, we love you? Renata, you're one of the most wonderful people that there is, and we are lucky to be in your life, like all of us are. Iman and I love you. Thanks again for inviting me on here, and I look forward to seeing all of you on a regular basis and to seeing all of your success put into action and come to fruition.
We are so grateful. And yes, we love you very much. Guys, can you please unmute? Hey, Brian Sachs, our incredible friend, standing ovation.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank you,
Great
Brian.
job, buddy.
Thank you,
Good job.
Brian.
Hey, thank you, buddy.
Brian.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Bye-bye.
Thank you so
Great
much.
job.